Okay, racing mower build or racing mower rebuild. I get that wrong every time. So this is racing mower rebuild part 4. Today, for sure, we're gonna pull off the rear fenders, get to the transmission. Might get to the front end. Don't know about that yet, but it's probably gonna be transmission front end. And then I don't really think I'm gonna show you guys how I did the pulleys. I'm just gonna quick show you guys, but I'm not gonna make a video of it and put it in the video. So all I'm gonna do is I cut the pulley. It was like this. All I'm gonna do, yes, those were from the same pulleys. One is not rusted because it was in the frame. The other was below. I'm gonna take that. I flipped it. I measured everything. That's gonna be welded right center. I'm just gonna weld a bead around the edge of that, right to the rim of that. And then this big one's gonna be the drive pulley, and then this one is just gonna be on the bottom holding it up because the key is lower down and I need the pulley up. So that's how that's gonna work. So then I'll show you guys the thing quick. So then that will go under there. See how that part is smaller, that part is wider, and that's the keyed part, and that's where I need the pulley. So then this is the keyed pulley, this is the pulley with the bigger hole in it, so it's gonna be flipped over, and the keyed pulley will be on bottom, bigger hole, go over the top, and that'll work just fine. Anyways, enough of that. So very quickly, I'm just gonna pull the seat off, pull the fenders off, attempt to pull the transmission out, drain all the fluids, and pull it apart and fix the bushing on the bottom because it's leaking really bad and there's tranny fluid all over the place. And when I pulled this gear, it was a puddle of tranny fluid up on top of it. So you can kind of see the shine of it right there. But yep, so that's leaking, but it's the bottom pulley bushing, not that big of a deal. I'm hoping I can fix it. So we're just gonna pull that off. I know I can, but I'm hoping I can fix it without buying any parts. And pull this off, and let's go from there. Okay, so now pulled the fenders off, got all that off there. Nothing really exciting. Shifter off top of the transmission, and now I'm just gonna pull. What are there? 6 bolts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Pull all them off. Not these. These are the shifter. The ones down here. Anyways, pull that off. Take the gears out. Drain oil. I'm gonna leave it mounted in there because I don't want to take it out. But I'm just gonna pull all that off and check the bushing on the bottom and make sure it's all good, and hopefully add a snap ring or a washer in there because it kind of moves. So I'm trying to add a washer in there to raise it up, make it not leak, or throw an O-ring on the bottom of it, make it not leak, something like that. So let me tear that apart quick. Missing someone. Missing someone. Missing someone. With all your heart. Missing someone. With heart. Okay, so I got it all torn apart. There's a snap ring in right here with the gear that I'm gonna pull the snap ring off, pull the gear out, shaft come out the bottom, and oil will drain right through there. And all this kind of cleaned up a little bit because there's a lot of shit on the bottom, like the old grease and the oil. Kind of what I'm hoping. The first change, I was gonna tear the whole thing apart anyways and kind of clean all the old grease out. I couldn't get on all the cracks, obviously, so got that nice. Even a little bit of grease in there gives it a little thick. Anyways, so let me grab my snap wrench. Where's that? Oh, here it is. What was that? That sounded like a whale. Oh god. So worst case, snap ring won't actually fit. I gotta find my light. Just have all my shit right on hand. Okay, there it goes. Woo. There she drains. That fell fast. Okay. Now I gotta pull the gear out and everything will drain, but let me make sure I'm not missing any washers. Here's my shaft right there. Clean that out. I don't believe I pulled that out before. Oh yeah, here's the rubber ring. Looks like that could be replaced. Right, there's some more washers in there too. Seal it up a little better. Okay, it's not all the way draining yet. So now we are going to, you guys can still see it, pull this gear out. Maybe like, it's kind of suctioned in there though. Now you can see it better. There it goes. And there goes all the gear oil. Washer with the thingies on my rag. I don't know how you guys can see something better. Can't really see my camera, but it's looking good. Still need a just gonna clean all this out. Skip to the end. Okay, now that I got it mostly cleaned out, I am going to, I had a blank, oh yeah. I'm gonna go find an O-ring for this puppy. Try to find a better O-ring for that, or throw more washers in there, because this one seems decent still. But maybe try to find a fresh one. Be ideal. Throw that back in there, make it nice and tight so she doesn't leak. And then, yep. That's about it. So then I'll do that, throw it back together, and I'll show you guys that. So, I'm gonna find one of them quick. Okay, so I got my O-ring. And just kind of clean that up a little bit. I'm gonna leave it how it is. And I got some more washers to shove in here, just to make it more tight so it doesn't wiggle around. So I'm gonna shove those on top. In the, I'll shove it on the outside part to pull that down. You know what, actually I'll shove it in the inside so I don't mess with the height of my pulley. So I'll shove that in the inside, or it goes up from the bottom, but I'll do that. So after it goes up, throw some washers on there, besides the one that was on there, just to make it so it doesn't wiggle at all. Make sure that O-ring's nice and tight, and I'll throw it back together. So let's do that and put her back together quick. Okay, so I got the shaft in. So I just stole, it has to be 3/4 inch inner diameter washer. And it was kind of a thinner one. I threw it under this gear. It was this gear. You'll see this, if you can't see it on camera, it's right here. So this works for a Peerless and Peerless 500 and a Peerless 700 lawnmower transmission. So you're gonna have to if it's leaking out the bottom, you want to pull your, and it has slop, you know how to fix that. Pull your gear off. You don't have to take the shaft completely out. So you pull your gear off, and there's a washer on the bottom of the gear. You want to put that one on first, so that one is on the bearing, and then you want to stick your washer on second, and then you want to put your gear back on and make sure it fits. Unless you have the exact same bearing with the same inner and outer diameter of the first one, you can't put it against that bearing. It has to be that washer, and then you get a really thin one and just stick it on top of however much slop you have. So I put that on there, and now there's no slop whatsoever, and it's nice. It's not gonna leak, hopefully. So I got that back on there, and I'm going to throw the gears and put everything back in there, fill it with gear oil, and throw it back together, and we'll be done with that transmission, and it'll be sweet. There goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight, there goes a sight. Now there goes a sight from my soul. There goes a sight from. Okay, so here's a chance kind of to look at everything. So don't forget to put this thing back in there and make sure Don't forget to make sure that's on that shifter piece. Because if those prongs aren't in there, then you're not going to be able to shift nowhere, bud. You're going to get stuck in whatever gear it's in. And also make sure on these, it's 90-degree angle this side. This side it goes 45 slant, and then no, there's a little nub. Here, light. There's a little nub right there. Make sure that's part of this bushing. Make sure it's in that little notch. So then that makes sure the bushings don't spin, otherwise your cover's not going to fit on properly. That's with every spacer. There's that one. And then there's that one. And there's that one. But anyways, zoom out quick. Yep, I'm just going to throw some gear oil in there. You probably want to fill it probably about here. About 1/3 of the way full. It's probably about here, because you don't want it on that seam, because it'll leak if it sits. It's probably about here. Kind of your personal preference, enough for the gears to throw the crap around. But you want about 1/3 of the case full. So now I'm going to clean up my case edge, because I already cleaned this one up. Case edge, clean that up so it fits on there good. I'm going to gear oil, cover back on. We're gonna be done with this thing. So it's that. Okay, so just real quick, I poured it in there. You can barely see it because it's new. What I am using in this transmission is say 75W90. You don't need to say, but whatever. It's 75W90 synthetic. I'm using that, and that I put 500 milliliters in that transmission. Last time I used 80W90, I think, or it was 85. It was 80W90. So I'd usually either use 75W90 or 80W90 synthetic. 80 worked just fine last time. I have 75 this time. So I poured 500 milliliters in there. That seemed to fill it up perfect. That's a 1,000 milliliter container. So if you buy one of these, just go down to the 500. So yeah, I think it's 1,000 milliliters. Maybe not, because it kind of cones on the end. So, bet you I put just under 500 in there. But 500 will work fine too. It might fill it up a little too much. So I stopped about right there where that thingy is. Stopped about right here. But, anyways, so I'm going to throw this cover back on. I'm going to stop bullshitting, and let's move on to the next part.